Okay, now exercise 9. So this one has 3 parts. In the first one, we have been asked to say something about a subgroup of D4 that contains this rotation R270 and some reflection. We already know that D4 has 4 reflections, H, V, D and D prime. This particular reflection may be any one of these 4. We don't know. We have to work with a general reflection. So let's see the solution. We start by giving such a subgroup a name. Let A be a subgroup of D4 such that R270 and F belong to A, where F is a reflection in D4. Then R0, which is the 4th power of R270, will belong to A. Anyway, R0 will belong to A simply because A is a subgroup, so it will contain the identity element. But the other rotations also are in A. R90 is in A, that is R270Q. Then R180 is also in A, which is R270 square. Yes, these things belong to A. So that means all the rotations in D4 are in A. Also, the reflections FR90, FR180, FR270, they belong to A. Why? Because F already belongs to A and all the rotations are in A. So if you multiply any rotation by that reflection, then the result will again be in A, because A is closed under multiplication or under the formation of product. And the fact that these are rotations comes from, we have already seen this, that if we multiply in a dihedral group a rotation and a reflection in any order, then the result is a reflection. I think I said rotation, that is wrong. I mean, these are reflections. That is because when you apply a rotation followed by a reflection, or a reflection followed by a rotation, the orientation changes. So that means it has to be a reflection, it cannot be a rotation. So these things belong to A. What more is true? Note that the reflections FR90, FR180, FR270 are all distinct. due to the left cancellation law in D4. If you suppose that any two of them are equal, you can cancel it from both sides, leading you to a contradiction. So that's why they are all distinct. So how many elements does A have now? It has all the rotations, that means 4 rotations, and it has 4 different reflections, and we know that D4 already has 4 reflections. So that means A has everything that D4 has. Thus, A has 4 rotations and 4 reflections of D4. Which shows that A is equal to D4. So that means any such subgroup which contains R270 and any rotation, any reflection, it has to be equal to D4. Next, what can you say about a subgroup of D4 that contains H and D, these two reflections? So that also we start similarly. Let B be a subgroup of D4 such that H and D belong to B. Then their product will also belong to B. That is the product of H and D. Then R90 is equal to HD. This belongs to B. This implies R270, which is R90Q, now will belong to B, because R90 belongs to B. Hence, B is a subgroup of D4 that contains R270 and the reflection, say H. It contains D also, but only one is enough. And now you look at what we already did in the previous paragraph. If A is a subgroup that contains R270 and a reflection, then A has to be equal to D4. So that's the same thing we have here. B is also exhibiting that behavior, so B has to be equal to D4. So by what we proved, B has to be equal to D4. And finally, we want to say something about a subgroup of D4 that contains H and V. Let C be a subgroup of D4 such that C contains H and V. Now if you form the product HV, it turns out to be equal to R180. So this will also belong to C, hence the subset consisting of R0, R180, H and V, this is a subset of C. For this particular subgroup, I mean for a subgroup that satisfies these conditions, only this much can be said, and the reason is that unlike the previous cases, here if you consider products, several different products of these elements, you are going to be inside this set only, and that is because this set itself is a subgroup of D4, so you won't get any new element. Okay, so you can only say that these elements are contained in C. This C may be equal to this, or it may be greater than, I mean strictly larger than this subgroup. Okay, so the solution ends here. Then exercise 10. How many subgroups of order 4 does D4 have? We already know that the cyclic subgroup generated by the rotation R90 is a subgroup of order 4 in D4. Its elements are all the rotations. Is a subgroup of D4 of order 4. But is there any other subgroup? If so, what are those subgroups that we have to now find? Let A be a subgroup of D4 such that order of A is 4 and A is different from this cyclic subgroup. Then what can A possibly be? Note that this cyclic subgroup consists of all the rotations. So if A has to be something different from this cyclic subgroup, then A must contain something else, something other than a rotation. But since we are in a dihedral group, anything other than a rotation is a reflection. So that means A must contain a reflection. Since A is not equal to this cyclic subgroup, we must have F belonging to A for some reflection f in D4. Now we should be careful. A at the same time, now it has been established because of the way we are moving forward that A has a reflection. Now the thing we should be careful about is that at the same time A should not have the rotation R270, because if it does, then by the result of the previous exercise, or rather the solution to the previous exercise, A will then be equal to D4, which would contradict this condition that A has order 4. So by the previous solution means solution to the previous exercise, R270 does not belong to A. Okay, so R270 does not belong to A, and hence R90 also does not belong to A, because if R90 belongs to A, then taking the cube of R90 you get R270, then it has to belong to A. So if A contains a rotation at all, then it has to contain only R180. Of course R0 will also be there because A is a subgroup, but other than the identity element, if there is a rotation, it has to be R180. Now we claim that A must have R180 no matter what, and we want to substantiate this claim. So, or thus, okay, now let us look at the number of elements in A. A has 4 elements. Out of those 4 elements, already we have a reflection, and there is a rotation also, which is R0. It's the identity element, so it has to be in A. So we have R0, we have F, and in the extreme case we have R180. Extreme case I am saying because either R180 is there or it is not there, right? Suppose R180 is not there, then there are 2 more places for us to fill by elements from D4, and these 2 places will then be filled by reflections. If R180 is there, then fine, because that's what we want. If R180 is not there, then there must be some other reflection. Okay, and combining these 2 different reflections, we will get R180. So let's argue like this. Instead of starting with thus, let's write like this. We now claim R180 belongs to A. Since order of A is equal to 4 and R90 and R270 don't belong to A, there must be a reflection f prime belonging to D4 such that f prime is not equal to f and f prime belongs to A, because A has 4 elements and A can have at most how many rotations? 2 rotations. These 2 rotations already cannot be in A, and A has the rotation R0, so it can have only one more. In any case, you will always have a reflection in A that is different from the original one F that is already there in A. Now, we know that f prime is not equal to R0. Now this is actually a result from the previous set of exercises, I think. Am I correct? I mean, what I am trying to say here is that I don't remember it correctly, but we have come across an exercise which says that if in a dihedral group we consider 2 distinct reflections f1 and f2, then their product is not equal to the identity. I am using that result here. Okay, if you go back in one exercise, you will see this thing, that the product of 2 distinct reflections in any dihedral group cannot be equal to the identity. Since okay, but by the way, what is f prime? It's a product of 2 reflections, and we know that when we take the product of 2 reflections, we get a rotation, and that rotation is not equal to R0, and that rotation must be in A. So what is the only possibility? At the same time, that rotation cannot be equal to R90 and R270. So that means it has to be R180. Since f prime is a rotation and belongs to A, we must have this is equal to R180. This proves our claim. That means A has R0 and A has R180. Besides that, A will have only reflections, some 2 reflections. Now we have to figure out what sort of reflections A can have. Thus, A consists of R0, R180 and two reflections. Suppose that H belongs to A. say one case is H belongs to A, another case is H does not belong to A. So we first assume that H belongs to A. Then along with H you can bring V. That is because HV is equal to R180. Yes. Oh, HV is R180. Fine. That means what? So that simply means if we pre-multiply by H, then we will have H square V equal to H R180. And since H is a reflection, H square will be identity, so V is equal to H R180. Then this belongs to A, and we have A equal to R0 R180 HV. So it's that group that came up in the previous solution when we were talking about C. Next, let this, suppose H does not belong to A, then we want to prove that V also does not belong to A. Then V also does not belong to A, because if V belongs to A, then yes, H is equal to R180V. R180 already belongs to A in any situation. Now if V also belongs to A, then H has to belong to A because of this equation. So V also does not belong to A. Thus, in this case, what are the other reflections? D and D prime. And you can see that this is also a subgroup. So there are exactly 3 subgroups of order 4 in D4. Next, 11. Determine all elements of finite order in R star. Okay, in the group of multiplicative group of non-zero real numbers, we have to find those elements that have finite order. Okay, let x be a non-zero real number such that n equal to order of x is finite. Okay, that means n is some positive integer. Then x to the power n is equal to 1. If n is even, then the solutions to x to the power n equal to 1 in R star are -1 and 1. If n is odd, then the only solution to this equation in is 1. Probably I should have written x equal to -1 and x equal to 1. So that just means that the only elements in R star which have finite order in the group are -1 and 1. Elements in R star having finite order are -1 and 1. Order of -1 is 2 and order of 1 of course is 1 because 1 is the identity element. Other non-zero real numbers, their positive integral powers can never be equal to 1, no matter what positive integer exponent you take. Okay, then exercise 12. If A and B are group elements, and AB is not equal to BA, then prove that ABA is different from the identity. To the contrary, suppose ABA is equal to the identity. then AB can be written like this: ABA inverse, and ABA is equal to the identity, so EA inverse, this is equal to A inverse. But A inverse then again can be written as A inverse E, and in place of E we can again write ABA. Now this A inverse and A, they cancel out, giving us BA. So AB is equal to BA, and this directly contradicts our hypothesis. So our supposition is wrong, that is, we must have ABA not equal to identity. Suppose that H is a non-empty subset of a group G. That is closed under the group operation. And has the property that if A is not in H, then A inverse is not in H. Is H a subgroup? And the answer is yes. Although it looks like H may not be a subgroup, because something is given that says that if A is not in H, then its inverse also is not in H. At first glance, it doesn't seem like H will be a subgroup of G, but it will be. And the reason is this: the contrapositive of the given hypothesis is, okay, so what is given to us? We are given that if A does not belong to H, then A inverse does not belong to H. The contrapositive of this implication is this: if A inverse belongs to H, then A belongs to H. If this is P, this is Q, then P implies Q is the same thing as negation of Q implies negation of P. So we are going to use this. Is this: if A inverse belongs to H, then A belongs to H. Let B be any element in H. We are already given that H is a non-empty subset that is closed under the operation of G. So if we can now prove that the inverse of any element in H is again an element in H, that would be sufficient to say that H is a subgroup of G. So we have taken any element in H. Then B inverse is equal to B and this belongs to H. Now you look at this condition: if the inverse of some element in the original group belongs to H, then the element itself belongs to H. Now this particular element happens to be the inverse of B inverse. So according to this condition, B inverse should be in H, and hence so the inverse of any element in H is again in H. Thus H is a subgroup. Let G be the group of polynomials under addition with coefficients from Z10. Find the orders of these polynomials. Fx is 7x squared plus 5x plus 4. Gx is 4x squared plus 8x plus 6. And their sum, which, considering the fact that the coefficients are coming from the modulo group Z10, the sum becomes x squared plus 3x. You can calculate and see it will be x squared plus 3x. because you see 7 plus 4 is 11, modulo 10, 11 is equal to 1, so that's why we have 1 here, like that. Now in general, if hx is a general polynomial, n minus 1 x to the power n minus 1 plus etc. a naught belongs to G, then determine the order of hx given that these things are equal to 1, this is equal to 2, equal to 5, and so you just have to consider the polynomials, add it with itself a number of times, and you see when you get the zero polynomial. Keep in mind that the coefficients are in Z10 or Z10. So if we add this 5 2 times, then the result is 0. However, if we add 4 2 times, then the result is 8, not 0. But if we add 4 5 times, then the result is 20, which modulo 10 is 0. But none of that is sufficient to make the first one 0. So for this, the first one has to be added 10 times. So that's why the order of fx is 10. Like that, the order of gx, for gx, here also you have 1, so it has to be added 10 times, and the order of fx plus gx. Oh, I think I considered fx plus gx, sorry. This will not be 10. 5 is enough, because 5 times 4 is 20, 5 times 8 is 40, 5 times 6 is 30, and modulo 10 all of them are 0, and 5 is the smallest positive integer for which this happens. So this is 5. This will be equal to 10 again. Now applying the same logic here, however, I don't really know why they left the constant term out here. Why are they not considering a naught? Because a naught is necessary. The way we found these orders, it depends entirely on what all these coefficients are, even 4. Okay, so a naught is necessary. In general, we can write this. Note that order of hx will be equal to 10 if this GCD is equal to 1, because in that case no positive integer other than 1 will divide all the integers. This will be equal to 5 if this is equal to 2. This will be equal to 2 if this is equal to 5, and this will be equal to 1 if this GCD is equal to 10, because in this case, since this is a greatest common divisor, so 10 will divide all the coefficients, which means that modulo 10 all the coefficients are equal to 0, which means that the corresponding polynomial is actually the 0 polynomial, or in this ring of polynomials over C10, or I am saying ring, in this group of polynomials over Z10 under the addition operation, that polynomial, the 0 polynomial, is the identity element, and identity element in any group has order 1, so that's why we are getting 1. If this is the case, then all the coefficients are divisible by 5. If this is the case, then all the coefficients are divisible by 2, like what you have here. So if you add all of them 5 times, then you will get 10, and that will make the terms 0. So that gives you the identity. So here order is 5. Now the conditions that are given here don't have a naught. Still, based on this, if you now bring a naught also, then in this first condition, if this GCD is equal to 1, if you bring a naught, then also GCD will be 1. It cannot be anything more than 1, because if any integer greater than 1 divides a naught, a1, a2, etc., all of them, then that integer in particular will divide this ones also starting from a1. So GCD then in that case cannot be equal to 1. So in this particular case, you can in fact consider this GCD being 1 and this GCD being 1 to be equivalent. However, in the other cases we cannot say so. This is equal to 2, that means 2 divides all the coefficients starting from a1 ending at an. However, the constant coefficient a0 may not be divisible by 2. If that is the case, then there is a chance that the entire GCD will be equal to 1. So depending on the situation, you will ultimately get one of these 4 things, and if you get one of these 4 things, then you know how to find the order. But you see, the solution is not over. What I want you to do is this: you consider these cases that are given, and from them you try to see how you get these conditions. And one important thing is that these given conditions will lead you to these 4 conditions only, nothing else. I want you to make sure that that is the case. Okay, so I am ending the solution here, and let's move on to the next one. if A is an element of a group G, and order of A is 7, show that A is the cube of some element in G. So we have a group and in it we have an element of order 7. We have to prove that that element will be the cube of some element in the group. Note that the fifth power of A belongs to G such that if you calculate its cube, you get A to the power 15, but by the laws of the rules of exponent, it can be written like this. Now since order of A is 7, A to the power 7 is identity, so this is equal to A. So the fifth power of A is an element whose cube is equal to A. Suppose that H is a non-empty subset of a group G. Or with the property that if A and B belong to H, then A inverse B inverse belongs to H. Prove or disprove that this is enough to guarantee that H is a subgroup of G. Let G be the group of integers modulo 9 under addition modulo 9, and H be the subset consisting of 6, then if you take two elements from H, here both the elements have to be 6 because that is the only possibility, and if you calculate 6 inverse, then keeping in mind that we are in an additive group, so 6 inverse is 3, and again 6 inverse is 3. So 3 plus 3 is equal to 6, and this belongs to H. But H is not a subgroup of G. So the given condition is not sufficient. To guarantee that H is a subgroup of G. It may not be, as this example shows. So there are many more exercises that we have to solve. Let's just end the video here itself. In the next one we will do more. So that's it.